Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today in strong support of H.R. 3197, naming the Veterans Affairs Medical Center in Spokane, Washington, after two of our local Eastern Washington heroes, the Mann Grand Staff Department of Veteran Affairs Medical Center. Private First Class Joe E. Mann and Platoon Sergeant Bruce A. Grandstaff are heroes from Eastern Washington who gave their last full measure of devotion to our nation. Both men have been awarded the Medal of Honor for their bravery in World War II and Vietnam, respectfully. After graduating from high school in Reardon, Washington, Private First Class Joe E. Mann, like two of his brothers, joined the Army and trained at Fort Lewis in Washington State. 2 years after enlisting, PFC Mann was on the front lines in Best, Holland, where his platoon was surrounded. And in the face of heavy fire, PFC Mann was able to destroy an ammunition dump and took out numerous enemy troops. Despite being wounded 4 times, including both arms, PFC Mann refused to be evacuated and instead remained with his platoon and stood guard that evening. The following morning, the enemy attacked, throwing hand grenades as they approached. A grenade landed within a few feet of PFC Mann. Unable to raise his bandaged arms, PFC Mann yelled "grenade" and threw his body on top of it. Saving his fellow soldiers, PFC Mann died moments after the explosion. For this act of gallantry, PFC Mann was awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor. Born and raised in Spokane, Washington, Platoon Sergeant Bruce A. Grandstaff graduated from North Central High School in 1952 and enlisted in the Army a few years later. In 1966, he volunteered for duty in Vietnam. On May 18, 1967, Platoon Sergeant Grandstaff was leading a weapons platoon when it came under attack. Despite taking heavy fire from 3 directions, he raced into the intense fire to aid his men. Surrounded by 700 enemy troops during a 5-hour siege and being wounded in both legs, Platoon Sergeant Grandstaff continued to fight and encourage his men. Realizing that his position was being overrun, he asked for artillery fire on his exact location, knowing full well it would result in his death. His heroic actions that day immediately saved at least 8 of his fellow brethren and saved many others by alerting them of the enemy's bunkered location. At the time of his death, he had already been awarded the Silver Star for courage, and for his gallantry that day in May, Platoon Sergeant Grandstaff was awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor. Private First Class Mann and Platoon Sergeant Grandstaff are heroes, willing to sacrifice their own lives in order to protect their fellow soldiers. Their selfless advancement of freedom, liberty, justice, and democracy is truly humbling, and I'm honored to represent the legacy both men left behind for Eastern Washington and our nation. Mr. Speaker, I urge all of my colleagues to join in honoring these 2 Eastern Washington heroes, Private First Class Joe E. Mann and Platoon Sergeant Bruce A. Grandstaff, and support H.R. 3197. Thank you.